get to go on the show floor yet?
Huh?
Did you get to go on the show floor yet?
I know, right?
So, tell us, what's it like going to space?
Going to space is just the most incredible experience because you're having so many different experiences all at once. You're having that physical experience, you're feeling those G-forces, you're feeling that weightlessness, you're feeling that nausea, for sure. But you're also feeling all of those different emotions of that moment. You're seeing things you've never seen before, and you're understanding that moment as well, that so many other people, most of humanity, has never seen what you're seeing in that moment. And so you start feeling responsible, privileged, honored, blessed, and you can't really think about one thing for too long because next thing you know, something completely new and different is happening. First you're launching and you're feeling those G-forces and you're thinking, I've never been higher than this in my life, as you pass that altitude of an airplane. And you're thinking about that, and now you're looking up and you're seeing that the sky is turning darker right above you. And you're looking at that and you're trying to analyze what that is and what that's feeling like, when next thing you know, you're in the blackness of space, your capsule has separated, and you're now floating, and your brain does not understand what is going on. Those first few moments, your brain is just simply confused. And then you realize, and you turn, and you see the planet through your window. And then you turn, and you see your crewmates having that same exact experience you've been having. And it is just one thing after another of so many different emotions and feelings and thoughts, and it is just sensory overload completely.
What's the conditioning like when you're getting ready to go to space? What is that process?
So different trainings are necessary for you to be able to have a good experience out in space. Personally, since I was selected by Space for Humanity to carry out a psychological mission, we're actually trying to analyze a psychological effect called the overview effect. So in my case, I had already had physical training prior to being selected for this mission. So I'd already had high G-force training, I'd had microgravity training, hypoxia training, and different trainings to be able to be a suborbital astronaut. I become selected, and I also already had my physical and my medical checks and everything necessary to be able to go on a mission to space. So once I get selected, now we move on to the different aspects of training for your specific mission. So there's different trainings. First, there's training about just being able to go out and be comfortably in space. And then there's the training that you need to carry out your very specific mission. So since this is a psychological mission, we had to do mental and psychological training as well. So that was a process of about a month. And then you have your very mission-specific training as well, which is what exactly is going to happen during every single moment of this flight. What am I going to hear? What am I going to feel? What is my mind going to be thinking at any given moment? And if any emergency happens, can I tell you with 100% certainty that my body knows how to react with muscle memory only, without allowing my brain to actually do any thinking?
How do you feel like the experience did change you? We talked about the overview effect with Rachel as well. Did it feel different once you got back, and did you feel like you were almost a different person after you returned anyway?
The overview effect is interesting because since it was my mission to have that effect and for us to be able to analyze the before and after, I actually would watch interviews of astronauts that would talk about it to try to understand what this experience was going to be like. However, when I actually lived it, for me, it didn't really feel like a flip of a switch experience, and that's kind of what I was expecting. I was expecting to be able to go up, see that, and have that flip of a switch and come back and feel like I was different. But that's not really what happened. So I actually spent a few weeks where I was a little bit disappointed in myself because I thought I hadn't really had that experience. I felt still very much like myself. However, as the weeks went on and as the months went on, I started to realize that the things I was saying and the choices I was making are not the choices I have made before. They're not the choices I would have made in the past. And I'm daring to be more. I'm daring to do more. And I started to analyze that, and that's when we realized that that is what it is. But I was coming into this feeling like it was supposed to be this transformative, 1 second to another type of an experience, but it's not that simple. Kind of like when it's your birthday and somebody says, well, do you feel 21 yet? But that's not really the way that it works. You start feeling 21 after you start having those experiences and you're actually able to exercise your new rights. That's when you start feeling like you are. And that's kind of what this is like. You don't notice in the moment, you notice as you start to live.
Wow. What made you want to do this? What made you want to go to space?
I've been wanting to go to space since I was 7 years old. When I was 7 years old, I asked my mom, and she knew I've been fascinated by space my entire life. And when I was a baby, I would reach for little stars and little planets in the boys section, because that's where those things were. And I asked my mom a question. I said, what do you think is the hardest thing somebody can do? And she said, for you, I would probably say going to space. And I remember I replied very confidently, okay, then that's what I'll do. And ever since that day, it has not left my mind.
Thank
That
you.
was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.